Hello, everybody. And right now, there's no one here, and I don't expect a whole lot of people to show up for this live stream. This is a genuine pop-up live stream. I have struggled and struggled and struggled today trying to get my editing software to cooperate, and it is not working. I've been working on trying to put together a video for the last 36 hours. And let me mute this so we don't listen to this the whole time. Mute. All right. Hey, we got 4, 5, 9. Hey, we got a few people popping up. I wasn't expecting anybody to pop up. Hey guys, who we got here? Denny, Madaka Madness. I don't know if I said that right or not. Love the channel. Well, thank you. Hey, Sharon. Hey, we got a few regulars popping up. But as I was saying, guys, I have got my butt kicked by my editing software in the last 36 hours. I have put together this video so many times and only to have it corrupted. And I finally said, you know what? The heck with it. I wanted to get this file and this video out. I'm trying to do a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule, and here we are. And I said, you know what? The heck with it. We'll do a genuine pop-up live and just see if anybody shows up. And if not, we'll get this video out there and it'll be available to people on a replay, and they can see what we're going to talk about. I got my first Easter cross file done, and that's what's behind me here. I think I might have teased a little bit about it in a previous video, but one of my patrons came and asked me, they said, hey, look, we love your layered cross design. And they specifically were talking about the love of God, and they loved all of the layers, but they hated all of the waste. These are beautiful to build and create a nice piece, but they do generate a lot of waste. They're not cheap to make. And he's you know, hey, I want to do something to where he was even, I think he said he was wanting to do 50 or 60 or more of file to give to his friends, family, and church members for Easter. And can you do a layered piece that's not going to generate so much waste? So, well, let me think about it. Let me put some thought into it and see what I can come up with that won't be terribly expensive to produce in mass. And so I thought about it for a little bit, and I said, yeah, we can do something. And so I come up with this little piece, and this little piece is made from a single piece of 300 by 300 material. It's two layer base and then 3-layer cross with this is painted pink for the backboard, then the cross, and then the white dub on top. But that can be done from a single piece of 300 by 300 material and has hardly any waste, but the design is also scalable. So this is, counting the base, it's about 8.5 inches tall and not terrible to assemble. But then I wanted to scale it up and show people that, and then I'm going to show you here in this video how to scale these images. And the best way to do it, you can do it by percentage, but then it's like, okay, well, I really want to get it from 8.5 to 12 inches. Well, what percentage is that? And then if you're not careful, if you don't scale every piece exactly the same, well, fitment becomes an issue. But this piece is scaled up to, it's right at a foot tall, including the base. And instead of painting it, I did a stain on it, front and back, and then 1 layer on the base, and got an entirely different look. And I don't know which one I like better. I like this one for Easter, but this one year round, it can, sit out and look nice. But we're going to talk about the scaling, how I scale that up, and the roadblocks you have to look for when you do scale stuff up. And then also the tricks there's 3 layers on here in the cuts and layers files and what you want to look out for when you do this. And that file has dropped on the website yesterday or day before. And I also had another patron who said he had a friend who had lost a child, and he was wanting to make a memorial cross, and he wanted to do something in a layered design. So I come up with this for the patrons, and this one is 5 layers, and it's got my infinity heart in here, and then I've got infinity symbols down the each of the center of the cross. And then you can personalize that, put the name and the birth and death date, and you got the wings and the halo. And this one, instead of being a stand, I designed it as a wall hanger, and I've got the keyhole hanger in the back, and then I put a kicker on the bottom as well, so that when it's put on the wall, it's going to sit nice and flush against the wall. So those are the 2 designs that I've got uploaded to Hobo with Wood this week. And I want to bring in the He Is Risen file and show you that on here in LightBurn, and show you how you can scale those up, and then what to look for in the roadblocks, resizing slots and tabs. So for some of you guys, this is going to be old hat. And then for some of you, you're going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know you could do that. And thank you so much for sharing. So let's see who all was in here before we jump over into LightBurn. And again, this is a complete surprise live, because I got so aggravated with the editing software. I just said, I want to keep this schedule going, so I'm quit struggling and just get this done. And here we are, and we got 30 some odd people watching, and that's 30. We got 34 live right now. That's 33 more people than I expected to be here on a Tuesday afternoon. So let's see here, and I see a lot of a lot of regular names. I love this. Jeff says, "Shh, don't tell nobody. He's at work. He's watching from work." All right, your secret's safe with us. Nobody else in the world will know, except for the 33 other people watching. Let's see here. All right. I use smaller projects to fill in my waste. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's jump over to LightBurn and bring this file in and show you how I scaled up, what you need to look for if you get this file, what you need to look for settings, and any potential roadblocks. So switching. All right. We're going to import this from the e-commerce website, and this is He Is Risen. All right. If you get this file and you bring it in, it's already grouped in a 300 by 300 toolpath. And if, depending on where your home position's at and where your laser's working, now I'm using the Roly MK2. I just drop it down there in the corner, place my material right in the corner of the workbed, and hit start. It's ready to go because I saved it with my settings. Now there are 3 cut layer settings and 1 toolpath. The layers settings, I've got the black layer as an engraved layer. Now, personally, when I do this, I'm using the 10 watt for the engrave, and then I use my 30 watt for the cuts. So I've got a crosshatch bidirectional fill going on with a line after fill to create a really nice, deep, and very precise engraving. Then the blue layer is in a line mode, and the red layer is in line mode. Now the blue layer must be in line mode, or else you will get warnings. And what is the blue layer? The blue layer is nothing but these little lines right here that I have on top of the cross that are there to simulate the crown of thorns wrapping around and over the face of that cross. And then over here, this is all intact. It's not actually cut out, but I wanted to create the illusion of the crown wrapping behind the cross. So I've got a line there that is just an engraved line to mark there, and same thing over here. And if you put that in a fill mode, it's nothing there to fill because it's only a line. And that will cause errors, and LightBurn's going to be going, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't do this. So make sure you're in fill for the engrave and in line modes for the other two. Now, I have this nested real nice and neat, so it works perfect for doing on a 300 by 300 piece of material. But as I said, it is scalable. First thing you need to worry about is regardless what size you're going to cut this out, and you need to know what your slots and tabs are. And right now, I've got this set up for the material that I was working with. So if you're even going to cut it out on this piece or this size as is, you need to resize your slots and your tab for your material. So as you said, that one's grouped. I'm going to ungroup it for now. And you're going to need to worry about resizing both of these slots and this tab. Go measure your material before you put it on the laser bed. And then what I do, since this is all coming out of the same piece, I think this was done at, 3 millimeters is what I have it set up as right now. That's 3 and 3. But if we look at our ruler and come over and measure this tab, that's 5 millimeters. So what I've done is this is going to stack one on top of the other. So it should be at around 6 millimeters thick. Well, my tab is just a millimeter shy of that. So it will stick through both layers of the base, but I don't have to worry about it protruding or sticking out the bottom and becoming a rocking problem whenever it's stacked together. So I've got 3 and 5, but if you've got material that's only 2.7 millimeters, then you're going to need to rethink your slot width here and your tab as well. And with the new changes they made to the resize slots and selection tool, you can select the entire thing, open that tool one time, and make the changes you need without having to constantly reopen that tool. They've added this apply button. So now we're going to change our tab height. And currently it's at 5 millimeters. And say you wanted to say, if you're working with material that measures only 2.5 millimeters, it's only 5 millimeters thick, then you're going to want to do maybe 4.8 or 4.7 millimeters on your tab. And if you zoom in and look, there it shows you, this little arrow shows you the direction that tab's going to move in. And that's exactly what you'd want. You'd want to make that a little bit shorter. And now instead of saying okay, you're going to say apply. And that'll shorten your tab. Now we need to change our slots. Now our slots, our material is, 2.5 millimeters. It's not seeing anything. Well, that's because that's old material thickness. I'm sorry, I'm telling you wrong. The old material thickness was 3 millimeters, and we want to go to 2.5 millimeters. And now you can see that's got the arrows coming in. And now you can say apply, but we're done. So you just say, okay, that's done. So now you've resized this for your material thickness, and you can cut that out and you're ready to go. Bob's your uncle, done. But if you're wanting to scale this up and make it larger, you can do, if you were, what I tell you guys all the time, there's only one way to do anything in LightBurn. There's one way and only one way, and there's only one right way, and anything else is just wrong. No. There's 100 ways to do stuff in LightBurn. You can make it happen in several different ways and end up with the same result. And as long as you got there, it doesn't matter. But if you were looking to make this a very specific height, then trying to scale it up by a percentage, now you might be really good at math and be able to go, okay, well, I can right click, look at that. Okay, that cross is 8 inches tall and I want to make it 12 inches tall. So I want to increase it 4 inches, which is what 50%. I'm going to make it 150%. Well, that okay, and then you can scale that all up and by the percentage in there. But if you're not wanting to make it a certain percentage, and if you do that, you still want to do the entire thing at one time. If you went in and did each individual piece and go 50%, it'd probably still work, but that's a lot of work. I don't do that. I don't do the math. I don't try to figure it out. I will take and create a toolpath of the desired size that I want it to be. And then I'm going to select the entire image and start enlarging that until the one singular piece, in this case, the backboard of the cross, will fit into the desired size that I'm looking for. Once that fits in there, then it's all scaled at the same time. It's all going to work. It's all going to be uniform. And let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So right now, this is all grouped. I'm going to, or no, it ain't. No, it ain't. Yeah, it's not grouped. I've already ungrouped it. So if I come just shy of that toolpath, I'm now drawing down. I've selected that entire image. Now what I might do, just to be safe, go ahead and group it. And if I want to say, well, I want that cross, I want this largest cross to be 10 inches tall. Well, I might just draw out another toolpath, put it on toolpath, and tell it I want it to be 10 inches. It doesn't really matter where it's at, but put it kind of there in the center. Now I'm going to drag this entire image over here, and I want this cross here to be about that, fit in that 10-inch area. Well, holding my control, I'm just going to start dragging this out until it fits in there. And that's about as big as you're going to make that if you wanted to, if you were only working on a 10-inch piece. But since we're working on a 12-inch piece, we can take it right out to the edge and say, okay, there we go. And now you no longer need that toolpath, that one you just drew up, so you could delete it. Now you can ungroup this and start moving things around to get them nested in a way that you can get all of that in a 300 by 300 piece of material. You're not going to get it all there because you've made it so big now, but you can nest it so that you can get the most out of the two pieces of 300 by 300 material. And what I would probably do, I think these are not grouped anymore. I'm going to group them back because those are located so that everything will line up perfect whenever you do stack them. So now those are grouped. I'll go ahead and put the group with the engraving. And the little dove, that's easy enough to move around. I'm going to grab this and make sure all of that's grouped. Now I can move stuff around and not have to worry about stuff being mismatched or messed up. Now, what I'm going to look at here is this base. Whenever I cut it out, I want to make sure that they're cut out in the same way so that the grain runs parallel with each other. So if I select this and then hit my less than button to rotate it counterclockwise, I can bring that over here. And I don't think I'm going to get both bases on this 10-inch piece with this 12 by 12. I'll be getting really greedy if I do here. Rotate. Oh, come on, rotate. Oh, man, that's so close. So close. In fact, what I would consider doing, well, it's going to require a second piece anyway. I would consider maybe foregoing my full 10 inches here and maybe shrink it down so I can get all that on there. But if you start shrinking these, you got to shrink it all at the same time. But we're going to end up needing another piece anyway. So what I'm going to do is bring that over here. Control D, duplicate that toolpath, put it back in the corner. Put this cross on here. Put my dove on here. And yeah, it's in fact, what I do, I made one even bigger. I'm the one that it's in the background is I did it in a full 12-inch tall. I ended up having to put the dove. I cut the dove out of just a piece of scrap wood. So I ended up using 2 pieces and a piece of scrap. So wow, there's 50 of you guys here. Man, ain't no you. I'm guessing a few of you might be over across the pond because it's 4:50. I don't think Jeff's the only one though here in the U.S. watching, and probably shouldn't be. Ain't y'all got jobs? But you get the gist of what I'm going for there. And I really wanted to get a video out today and make you guys aware. I'd already teased a few people about this design and it was coming. Well, it is now out there. It is on hobowithwood.com. Patrons have had access to it now for about 48 hours. So if you want to be in the know and see stuff and get them for either free or a discount, consider going over to patreon.com/hobowithwood, becoming a regular sponsor of Hobo. Keep this thing going. I'm trying to do at least 1 to 2 new files every week. So it's a deal on the Patreon. The gold patrons are getting more than their money's worth. So did I, and the one big thing, and I even did this myself after I scaled it up. I showed you how to scale it up for you, or to resize your slots and tabs to make sure it fits your material. Well, once you scale it, all that's going out the window. Now you've scaled that up. Your tabs are huge. Your slots are huge. So once you scale it up, before you send it to the laser, the last thing you do is make sure your slots and tabs are correct. It's the same process, but you want to check your slots and tabs before you send it to the laser. The last thing you do, once you've got everything positioned, if you want to, and all that, but don't forget, because I did, I had everything just right, sent the job out. Fortunately, though, as soon as it cut out the first slot for the first base piece, I was like, oh man. I knew when I seen it, I was like, forgot to scale it down, forgot to put that slot size. So I only wasted a little bit of material. So any questions, anybody? Because I don't have a whole lot prepared. I had video of the Roly doing its thing and all the engraving and the cross hatching and the line after fill, and it's going to be really nice and do some really good exposure for the Lasermatic and let people see what's going on, how well it works. But my computers wouldn't work. My editing software just left me hanging. So since I don't have none of that, does anybody have any issues or any questions? This file or not, doesn't have to be like this file. Anybody got any problems that they would like to have addressed? We'll see what we can make happen. Wasn't planning on going a long time. We've been 25 minutes in here. We can go a little bit longer. Let's see. A bunch of haze, howdies, haze, howdy. Let's see here. Montgomery, Kentucky. Never knew about there. It was on the slots, resizing slots. Yeah, it'll show you which direction it's moving in to make sure you're doing what you want to. Russ says, I love the dove. Already got some ideas for using it. You know, Russ comes up with some really cool stuff. He's I'm surprised you're in watching. Well, I guess you said you can watch the live stream. Russ works for the Men in Black. He's one of those people that talk to all the aliens, and so he can't be involved in too many social media sites. So he doesn't post a lot of his stuff on Facebook about what he's doing, but he does share it directly with me. And he creates some really cool stuff. I wished he could be part of the Hobo with Wood group on Facebook so he could share that with everybody. But you know, it's that the whole Men in Black thing. You got they watch who you talk to. Let's see here. All right. Control 2, please show again. All right, Robert. That is a super, super cool tool. I love it, love it, love it. So Control 2 is actually just a what do they call it? 2-point. And that's a way to help remember it's Control 2. We'll switch over here to LightBurn. If we go up to the tools, is it tools or is it? I think it's in arrange. So first, let me just grab a product and then arrange. Yeah, 2-point, rotate and scale, or Control 2. It's in the arrange menu. If you forget Control 2, but it's 2-point rotate. And it says /scale. Now I'm not real sure what they mean by the scale part yet. I haven't figured that out. But Control 2, let's say I have well, in fact, we'll just get rid of all this. We don't need this anymore. Delete. So you got a hexagon, and then you've got a triangle, and we're going to right click. All right, got to get our selector tool. Right click, go to shape properties, and make this a 3-sided piece. That's a triangle. Say okay. And now I need to get this triangle sitting on here. I can rotate it. That's not right. That's close. But even if you didn't have it just right, all you got to do, grab one point, grab the point, and dock it right where you want it to be. So that's perfectly lined up right where you need it to be. Now with the Control 2, all you have to do, hit Control and the number 2. In fact, I'm going to look. I always use one hand and just do Control 2 on the keyboard. But somebody asked me the other night if you could use the 10 key. And let's see, Control 2. Yep, you sure can. Down here at the bottom, it tells you, it has your instructions right here. I don't know if you've ever noticed this or not, guys, but anytime you're using some of the tools like the center finder and other things, if there's instructions that are required, it'll pop up down here in the bottom of the screen. And it's telling you, select the first point, the center of rotation. So the first point is right there. I'm going to select it. Now my instructions have changed. It says click and drag the second point where you will rotate from. So now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to grab that point. And now I can just start rotating that down. And I can drag, and maybe that's the scale part. I don't know. But see, that line moves and you can rotate it. I'm rotating out here. And if I want it to like go right to that point, then I can drag that line all the way out there. And that's going to drop it. And that's going to be perfectly lined up. It's not the right size to fill that, but that's how that tool works. I love the Control 2. All right, let's see here. Hey, Pop-Up, how you doing, Pop-Up? So that was for Robert. Control 2. What's this? Thumbnail picture of cross is missing on your website. What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis? Let's see. Can't have that. Can't have that. Let's see here. I'm going to do that real quick. It wasn't missing. I don't know what happened. Did you break it? All right, let's see. Products. That's weird. It's even there. All right, edit. Product image is there. It's not missing. It's in there. All right, we're going to remove it and add it back. Set product image. Select that. Set. Update. Now refresh. There, it's back. Thank you, Jeffrey. I don't know why that happened because it was still there in the background, but I deleted it, reloaded it, refreshed. It's there. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. How do you run two machines at the same time in LightBurn? Well, honestly, I've never ran two separate lasers at the same time. I do have multiple versions of LightBurn open at the same time. And I guess actually, you know, if needed to, it would not be that complicated. Let's see here. Go back over to LightBurn. And I guess a lot of it, though, would probably depend on your computer's processing power and abilities. But if right now I've got one version of LightBurn open, and it's set up for the Roly. And if I go up here to File and open up a new window, LightBurn's going to do its thing, and it's going to open up a new version of LightBurn. And it's, hey, there's a new version. You want to update it? No, not right now. No, I don't want to bring nothing in. If I go over here to laser and I pick out a second laser, and I've got the Falcon 2, now this window of LightBurn is going to be talking to the Falcon 2. This version is talking to the Roly. So it would be just like having Excel open and a screen from what I just went and a Windows, another window, any other Windows open. It's two different. It's the same software, but it's two versions, and they're talking to two different machines. As long as your computer has the processing power, it shouldn't be an issue to go back and forth and work with both machines. Hey, Jack, what's up, my friend? So this, I don't know when you got here, but we decided to go. I struggled since probably, well, I had half the video recorded last night and come in today and finished it and assembled it and was doing all my final, and then everything crashed. And I just said, to heck with it. After 3 attempts, I said, I'll just pop up, do a real quick live. Yep. Open LightBurn twice. You have two versions of LightBurn open, and then assign each laser to each one, and should not be a problem as long as. Now, when I first started with LightBurn and first started with lasers, I was working with a laptop, and it was a couple years old, and its processing power wasn't that great, and its screen resolution. That's the biggest problem, I think, that I heard that whenever you have problems with LightBurn, with the windows not wanting to dock and properly, it's the resolution from the screen on the laptop that's the problem with LightBurn. And that can create some functionality problems. And then the other issue I was having was my stupid USBs in power saving mode and constantly going to sleep, and I was losing. So your computer settings and processing power is huge. Let's see here. ET says been control tubing like crazy ever since you showed how in your last video. That's a great tool. It's a lot of fun in it, and it's great for getting a very precise docking and locating. Let's see. Timmy B says when running two machines, make sure to connect to both before starting your project. Otherwise, it can interrupt the running laser. Okay. And again, I don't know. Is that true for everybody, or is that going to depend on your USB settings? Or, but better be safe than sorry. Make sure Timmy's saying make sure you're connected to your lasers before you start running. You don't want to try and connect to the second laser. Why you've got another job going, I'm guessing. But I'm not that busy with the laser. I spend more time designing than I actually creating projects. Yeah, Clack is because he's busy in production. He's that Clack Shack's full of lasers, and he's I listen to watch him. He's talking about and he shows his project board. That's too stressful. Too stressful. And I thought it was going to be a little bit stressful trying to keep up with trying to create 2 designs every week. At least one. I'd like to do 2 designs every week, and how to come up with something. Well, neither one of these files were my idea. I put them together, but I wasn't inspired to create them. I was asked, hey, can you do this? Yeah, I'll figure something out. So between my patrons keeping me hopping with their needs and requests, and I create that design for them. I give it to them, especially if it doesn't matter what. If they were bronze level and they say, hey, I need this, can you do it? Yeah, I do that. And I give them the file, and then I turn around and put it on the website for anybody else that needs it. So fortunately, I'm staying ahead, not falling behind in needs. And the next video I'm going to do, if I can get this stinking software to work, is I'm really learning a lot with bamboo. I hate bamboo. I hate bamboo. But I have started to learn some tricks with the bamboo that are actually producing some pretty good results, uniform results. And that's the biggest thing about bamboo is uneven burns and the lines you see in it. And so I'm learning some techniques and some tricks to help give it a really constant, even burn, and getting some, different colors. But this one, I really like the way that one turned out. So my next video this week, I plan to do some in-depth technical stuff on settings and engraving bamboo, not projects, but the biggest reason I hate bamboo is I showed in the live stream the other night, just after those 5 tests, the Roly was so filthy. I had to stop, tear everything down. That's just after 5 little grid tests. It's messy. Let's see here. Oh, what if you have 2 of the same laser? Name them different. Name them. If you're talking about you've got 2 MK2s, well, when you set up in LightBurn, you name it Fred and Barney. LightBurn don't care what you call it. You name it whatever you want it to, and this one's Fred and that one's Barney. You're good to go. I've been trying to do a material test in LightBurn, and it comes out like 1 inch by 1 inch. Well, what are your settings? Because and let's go over here to LightBurn, because you control all that. Auto, and go into laser tools, material test. This, if you set your height and width, this is of each one of the grids. And if you are putting in a small number, like a 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter, then that's going to make it really, really small. Or especially depending on how many counts, how many rows and columns are you putting in? And because I will sometimes do a 3 millimeter. That's about as small as I ever do, is a 3 millimeter grid like that. And sometimes only 5 by 5. And in preview, and that still produces a pretty substantial size piece. But if you're getting your test grid is only an inch tall, then if you're putting in, how many rows and columns and what size, and if it's producing something other than what you're asking for, then that is something that is beyond my abilities. You would want to reach out. I would say reach out to the LightBurn forum, unless somebody here in this group has seen a similar situation. But the LightBurn forum would be a place to post that and say, hey, I'm putting in 10 rows and 10 columns and 5 by 5, but it's only coming out an inch tall. I don't know. That one's beyond me. If you're not just putting in the wrong values. What's Pebbles? Hey, I just said Fred and Barney, and here's Pebbles. I got a new PC and I want to use LightBurn on it. How do I get my LightBurn on the new PC and keep it on the laptop? You have got, I think LightBurn used to allow you to have 3 PCs per license. They may have upped it to 5 unofficially, but I think you can do 3. You can have 3 computers on your same license. So you would download the LightBurn software, and then you would have to install your license for that software on the new PC. And if you've only used that license on one other computer, it should be that simple. Just install it, apply your license. And if you don't know your license, you should be able to find it in your About, or you can go back in and log into LightBurn and your account in LightBurn, and you'll see all that information. But that should be simple enough to do. Can I run LightBurn on Chrome? I think I've heard some people say they do use their Chromebook, but I don't have any knowledge on that. I'm already running LightBurn on 2 shop computers separately. As far as the number of pieces, I'm pretty sure you can do 3. And I think I heard them say that they unofficially upped it to 5 per license. Don't hold me to that, because I think it might still be officially only 3 pieces. But you should, people do use it on Chromebook, and yeah, if you're using it on 2 computers and Chrome, you should still be within the number. Timmy said, I'll try to connect to default. I'm not sure. There is also a new feature that they put in LightBurn. You now have a ghost machine. You can, if you're going to be working in just design mode, you're not going to want to connect to any laser, there is a setting in the devices that's a ghost. In fact, close. If you go into devices and create manually, right here, no machine, you can set up no machine. It's a ghost. It won't look for any kind of laser. It'll just let you be able to go into LightBurn and design willy-nilly and it not be looking for anything. Yeah, ET says, LightBurn gives you 3. So yeah, and like I said, 3 is a definite, and I'm pretty sure I heard them say it LBX that they're if you push, you ask, you need, persuade, sweet talk them, they'll do up to 5. I've heard that. I've not needed it. I haven't asked for it, but yeah, just selection, no machine from devices during setup. Okay. Jack says you get 2 per LightBurn and a third if you email. Maybe that's what they said. And that's why I say this is scrambled, folks. If you aren't aware, this is scrambled. Maybe it's they do automatically 2, but if you ask them, they'll do 3, but not 5. With the Lasermatic 10, does the frequency change work? Okay, this one I have to think when I read it. With the Lasermatic 10, does the frequency change work on any non-coated metal, stainless, or aluminum? Oh, okay, changing the frequency. Guys, that's some of that. I tried it. I've done it. That takes too long for me. To do a annealing when you're going to mark metal and not using any type of inks or medium to create the mark other than the laser itself, it's going to depend on the metal. Some metals it works, some metals it don't, and I don't remember the frequency and what you change. I think it's changing it from 10,000 to 1,000, but it takes forever to do that. You have to move so slow and the power so high that if you're using thin metals, it warps the metals, and it takes forever to do it. And I had a piece of stainless steel, some really thick stainless, and I got some pretty blues and some decent red, this and that, and got some neat colors from it. But it takes forever and a day. It's not practical. It just there's if you were ever going to do a piece that you were going to try and sell and make money, you could never make money doing it. It takes too long. If you wanted to do a piece for yourself one time to see it work, maybe. I did it. I'll never do it again. If you're needing to simply mark metal and all you have is the diode and you don't have the CO2, then and this is not marketed. Where is it? And I've got powder right here. Let's see. The Brilliance laser marking ink. Now the Brilliance is marketed to CO2, but I have got several videos of the Brilliance working with the diode, and instead of having to creep along at 3 or 5 millimeters a minute and or millimeters a second or 300 millimeters a minute, instead of creeping along and barely getting anything done, I work with the I think it was, I haven't tried it on the 30 watt yet, but with the 10 watt diode, 15 millimeters a second at 100% power, and it put a nice dark black permanent mark on the stainless steel that I even took jeweler's rouge and tried to polish it off and remove the mark. And it wasn't coming off. It was a permanent mark, and at 15 millimeters a second instead of creeping along at a kneeling pace. So does it work? It works, but it doesn't work on all metals. And it's as slow as it is, even the testing process would take you forever. I think there was a thing about the Ghost Machine. It did not have to do with the Ghost Machine. It did not do a preview, but I can't remember. I haven't ran into that. I guess I haven't had to try to do a preview in Ghost. And that might be what there's a new version out now. I'm on 1.5.01, and now they say there's a 0.05 or a 1.5.02 is out now. So maybe that's what that was about. Maybe there was, and they've already fixed it. So LightBurn says you get 3 activations. So now maybe they used to be 2, and now it's officially 3. I knew they talked about doing a change. Ricky says, yeah, said 3 on his license. All right. Hello, and thank you for replying to my email, Steve. Long hair mess. Hey, yep. Well, hey, I'm happy to help. I've helped quite a few people today and this week. And when I'm not recording, I'm really pretty good about getting back to folks. And I even will do like this right here. This is the StreamYard studio. I have a special studio in StreamYard that I call Hobo's World. And for special occasions, because I hate typing, I hate going back and forth in emails and trying to get answers. It's like the gentleman, I think it was a gentleman who was having a problem with his material test. If you're still watching, if you wanted to, email me, hobowithwood@gmail.com, hobowithwood@gmail.com, and I can send you an invite to Hobo's World. We can connect, and we're talking just like Zoom, but beyond Zoom, and I guess you can in Zoom too. I can actually share the screen, show things, but you can send me you can't send me a file of your test grid, but you can talk me through exactly how you're setting it up. I can see if it's an issue with something you're doing specifically, or if you're not doing anything wrong, then yeah, there might be an issue with either your the way it's processing or what they call the main board and the laser. You might be having something technical going on. But yeah, long hair mess. I'm happy to help those that I can, but as you see here, some of the technical stuff's not my strong suit. I'm all about the design, baby. When you want something done, I can make it. If it don't work like it's supposed to, we might have to kick it a couple of times and we'll get it there. I've tried the cross again. I'm having a hard time today. I have tried the cross again and still the same, and I speed up. Now I remember. Long hair, miss, you were the young lady that was working with the 2 trees 5.5 watt laser. Is that correct? You had the 5.5 watt 2 trees, and you were trying to cut out one of the scripture crosses. And I salute you for trying to do that with a 5.5 watt laser. But depending on your material, you may, in fact, you would probably have better luck instead of trying to do it with birch or anything like, stick to basswood. And I've got on my website, in fact, I think it's just thin basswood. Let's see here. I use this on occasion. Shop supplies. 1/16 thin basswood. Hobowithwood.com thin basswood. It's 12-pack, 12 by 12. It's only 1/16 of an inch thick, and it's basswood, not birch. And you might have a whole lot better luck cutting out basswood with that. Come on, there we go. With that 5.5 watt 2 trees. But from those images that she shared with me, she was trying to cut through maybe some material that was maybe too thick and too challenging for that laser, and it was just burning that wood up, burning it slap up. And that might be a project, but as fine of a detail as some of those letters are, it might be just too much to ask for. I know that the 5.5 watt laser is capable of doing really fine, intricate work, but I don't know if you're going to be able to do that intricate work and have the power to cut through without just burning stuff away, because it just takes forever to cut it with a 5.5 watt laser. Let's see here. How do you do close view of camera in your work area? If you can do, you can't control the zoom. At least I haven't been able to control the zoom of the in-house, but I have a separate camera that I put out here and video whenever I'm actually videoing for the channel. But a close up, second camera is how I do it. Yeah, I give up on becoming a scientist, Tim. And she says she's using Baltic wood at 2 millimeter. And Baltic is my preferred, but with the 2.5 watt, you might consider just trying that Basswood. You're going to find that it cuts a whole lot easier and a whole lot. It's a lot softer wood than the Baltic. And if you were to cut it out of the Basswood and then maybe mount it on something sturdier, because I mount those on a backboard anyway, you might have better luck. All right, guys, it's 56 minutes. Was not planning to go long, and we're going to call it here at an hour. And again, just for those who are tuned in late, you can always watch the replay, but this was just to show the in fact, I say it was my first Easter file for 2024, but it's actually my first Easter file, period. I didn't do any Easter stuff last year that I recall, but this is a nice 3-layer simple cross. This piece cuts out of a single piece of 12 by 12 material, or 300 by 300, but it is scalable. That's the same file. And I also dropped this memorial cross as well. That's a 5-layer piece. So jump over to hobowithwood.com, check them out. And 75 people here on a Tuesday afternoon. Again, you guys, a lot of these got to be across the pond. Well, actually, you know what, though? I take that back. The majority of my viewers are my age or slightly older, and they ain't got a 9 to 5. So thank each of you for being here, each and every one of you. And I will be back. I don't plan on being back live Thursday, but I plan on doing Thursday drop with the bamboo and the bamboo test results and suggestions. Now that's the things that I talk about, and the things that I share are from my personal experiences. It's what I've seen that works and works for me. I've got a troll now. I didn't think I guess I should have expected it, but I've got a troll now. He's all putting out misinformation, this and that, and don't know what he's talking about. And well, it works for me. I get positive results, and if I get positive results out of something, then I'm going to try and share it with you and help you understand what I did and how I did it to get what I got. But I've made the comment several times about the laser on the diode being hourglass shaped, and misinformation. It's not an hourglass. It's not an hourglass. It's rectangular. Well, yes, it is a rectangular spot size, but it comes out the laser and it comes to a focal point. That's why you have your focal tool. You focus it to a point, and then that once it gets to that focal point, it begins to widen back out again. So it has an hourglass. An hourglass is bulbous. It's round. You ever seen a flat hourglass? There's no such thing. An hourglass is round. I'm like, okay, well, what's that spot on how do you identify a black widow? Well, it's got a red hour. No. Not by your definition. It don't have a red hourglass on it. So I guess that's the price we pay for success. You're always going to have those. But what I try to share is stuff that works for me. I've had positive results with it. try to help people see if they can't emulate and get the same results. But I'm not just spitting information out there, not knowing what I'm talking about. I've tried it, I've done it, and those are my results, and that's how and why I share it. So, guys, thank you for being here, all 73 of you. Nuts. It's time to go. Some of us time to go get dinner. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you Thursday. Hopefully not live, and we'll be looking at some bamboo results. And as usual, I never know when this stupid